Hi guys, we're going to talk about volumes of cones today, and then we're going to look at some word problems at the end. Let me power up my slate here. Okay, so you guys know what a cone looks like. It's like an ice cream cone, right? So it has a circle for a base, and we're going to talk about how it's related to a cylinder, and we're going to look at some formulas. So how do you find the area of a circle? Because all cones have a base that is a circle. So don't forget what the area of a circle formula is. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Area is pi r squared. So that formula we're going to use. But what is different today is a cone does not have as much room as a cylinder. And it's kind of like the pyramid was with the prism. So how many cones does it take to fill a cylinder? I think if we click here, we'll be able to see. My computer will load. Sorry, it looks like it's a little slow. I don't know why it never does what I need it to do. Okay, so there is your cone. And it's going to pause for a second because I'm being punished. Little spinning circle. There is the cylinder. They both have a circular base, and they're going to fill it up with water, and we're going to see how many it takes to fill it up. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to jump ahead here. I can see the picture at the bottom. Hey, it's like this. Can you see the picture on the bottom? So they fill up the cone, and oh, here it goes. Maybe it's going to play for us. Maybe it's going to play. Let's try. No! Okay. Well, let's scroll through. They're filling it with water. It's dark, but you can see. They pour it in. Oh, it's not very much. They need a little bit more. It takes 2. How many total does it take? It takes 3, and that's it. Okay, that was really sad. That's really sad. Maybe you can click on the notes and get to it. I'm just going to cry. I'll have a good little cry about it. But you get the idea. There were 3, and that was a big flop, so don't judge. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. It does take 3 cones to fill 1 cylinder. So if you remember, the cylinder had volume. We did that a couple days ago. It was pi r squared h. So a cone is going to be one of 2 ways. You can do pi r squared h divide by 3, or you can do a fraction, 1/3 pi r squared h, because it's not as much as the cylinder. It takes 3 of them to fill it up. So let's look at this. If the volume of a cylinder is 20, what would be the cone if it had the same base and height? Well, you just have to take the 20 and divide it by 3, and you would get 20 over 3 feet cubed, because we're talking about volume. You also could do the big B times H. Big B is the area of the base, and H is the height of the cone. And remember, the height does not go here on the side. It goes right down through the middle. So we might want to draw a picture here. Okay. So the height would go right down here, and then that would be big B. And you can find the area. The volume. So what are the points that we need to know? Okay, you have that picture there. This is the base. The center of the base is important because it goes right to the vertex. So I just kind of scribbled out the center of the base. That is the center. And then you have the height, which we said just goes right down the middle. It makes a right angle at the bottom there. Diameter and radius, we know from the circles, right? Diameter goes all the way across, and the radius is just halfway. So those are all the parts that we need to know. So let's talk about these parts. What is A? Well, they said, which letter is the center of the base? What's the center of the base? That's B. Which one is the vertex? A. You can pause it to work ahead if you want. Which one will be the radius? It wants a segment. So the radius, you could do two choices. You could say B to C, and since it says segment, we have to put that segment sign on top. Or you could say B to D. Those are both a radius. The height has to be B to A or A to B. That's the same thing. And then the diameter goes all the way across, and that would be C to D. So they want to know what the exact, and it says exact, so that means we're going to leave pi in our answer, volume of a cone with a radius of 2 and a height of 5. So we're going to do pi r squared h divided by 3. So we're going to leave the pi. R is the radius, so that's 2 squared. The height is 5, and we will divide it by 3. We're going to leave a fraction here, guys. Just multiply the numbers on top. That's 4 times 5, which is 20. And then put the 3 on bottom. So 20 over 3 meters cubed, and it has the pi with it. 20 over 3 pi meters cubed because it's volume. Okay, so what is the volume of a cone with a radius of 4 and a height of 10? So once again, pi r squared h, but we're going to divide by 3. So it'll be pi times 4 squared times 10, divide by 3. 4 squared is 16. 16 times 10 is 160. Put it over 3, and they want the pi with it, centimeters cubed. This time, I can't quite read what that says here. A cone has a diameter and a height. They want to know the volume. Well, remember, the volume is pi r squared h divided by 3. I don't know the r. I know the diameter. So the first thing you need to do is find the r. Well, what is the radius? The radius is half of the diameter. So if the diameter is 12, the radius is 12 divided by 2, which is 6. Now I can plug it into my formula. So that's pi times 6 squared times 15 divided by 3. Sometimes you can use 3.14 if you want, but we're going to do exact for a little bit. 36 times 15, because 6 squared is 36. That'll be 540 over 3 pi. Well, 540 does divide by 3 in my calculator. So that's the same thing as 180 pi inches cubed. Let's try this one. You can pause it and try it, and then see if you get the right answer. Okay? So the right thing to do is to find the radius first, and the radius is half of the diameter, so that will be 3. And now you can do pi r squared h divided by 3. So pi times 3 squared times 8 divided by 3. That's 9 times 8, which is 72 over 3 pi. But 72 divides by 3, and we actually get 24 pi feet cubed for volume. All right, last one are the cones here. Let's find the volume. This time they tell me what the area of the base is. So this time I'm going to use the big B times h divided by 3. If big B is 16 pi, the height is 6, we'll divide it by 3. Let's just take the 16 times the 6. It's 96 over 3 pi, but 96 does divide by 3, so we get 32 pi inches cubed. How about this one? This one I'm going to use pi r squared h divided by 3 to give me the r. So pi times 5 squared times 4 divided by 3. This way. 25 times 4 is 100 over 3, and that does not work out nicely. Pi inches cubed, so you leave it like a fraction. And on this last one, they tell me the diameter, but I don't need the diameter. I need the radius. So find that radius first, and the radius is half of that, which is 6. So now I can do pi r squared h divided by 3. Pi times 6 squared times 5 divided by 3. 36 times 5 divided by 3. That gives you 60 pi inches cubed. So lots of different ways to look at that. You can type them in, and we used pi today, but you can also use the 3.14 for some decimals. Okay, now what if you're finding a missing part? So what does that look like? This time they want to know the base area. That's big B. So they're telling me to use the big B times H divided by 3. And they're going to tell me some facts. They tell me that the volume is 75. They want us to find the big B. They tell me the height is 5 and we're dividing by 3. So we have to get big B by itself. So the first thing we're going to do is move the 3. So you're going to multiply by 3 first. So you're going to take times 3 times 3. 75 times 3 is 225. And that's B times 5, but that's the same thing as 5B. And how do you get B by itself? You divide both sides by 5, and you get 45 for B. Now, what was B? That's the area of the base. So that's going to be meters squared. The volume of a cone with a height of 4 centimeters is 12 pi. What is the radius? This time we're looking for the radius. So I'm going to use pi r squared h divided by 3. The volume is 12 pi. I have the pi. The radius I don't know. The height is 4, and I'm going to divide by 3. So I have to get r by itself. The first thing I'll do is multiply by 3. And what I'll do is I'll just take the 12 times the 3, which is 36 pi. And that cancels, and I get pi r squared times 4. Well, let's divide both sides by 4. Now I get 9 pi. Those 4's are gone, and that's pi r squared. Now remember, I'm getting pi by r by itself. So we need to move the pi by dividing by pi, and they both cancel. And we get 9 is r squared. Now this part is the tricky part. How do you know what r has to be? What number squared equals 9? Well, there's this button on your calculator called the square root. You'll take the square root of 9, and you'll see that that radius has to be 3, and we're talking about centimeters. So you might have to use the tricky square root button. How about some word problems? This one's about a swimming pool. Swimming pools are often in the shape of a cylinder. So now we're talking about just big B times H, or pi r squared H, because we're not talking about a cone. The height is 5. The radius is 20. How much water is going to be in there? Well, we can do that. We just need to use the formula. Pi r squared H. No dividing by 3 because it's a cylinder. So that's pi times 20 squared times 5. This time I am going to use 3.14 because in real life, that's what we would do. They don't want to know pi in the answer. And you'll type that into your calculator. 20 times 20 is 400. I did that part for you. But you could just type it in your calculator if you want. And you'll see that we're going to use 6280 cubic feet of water to fill our swimming pool. Okay, what's this one say? This swimming pool can hold this much. The inside bottom is going to be with tile. They want to know how much tile will be on the bottom, which they didn't really show me the bottom very well. But what's that asking for? That's asking me how much tile. They're asking me for big B. So I'm going to use big B times H. Well, what is the volume? The volume is 6283.19. That's big B times H. They also told me what the height is, so I shouldn't have put H. What should I put instead? I should put the 5. And then to find out what that area is, I'm just going to divide both sides by 5. So it's a calculator problem. And I'll see that I need 1256 point, let's say 64. That's big B, which is the area, square feet of tile. A paper cup is in the shape of a cone. It's 6 inches tall, and the diameter is 3. How much water can it hold? And they even set it up for me. Look, they used the fraction this time. They want us to round, so we're going to use our calculator. I don't like the 1/3, so I'm going to do pi times 1.5 squared times 6, and then I'm going to divide by 3 at the end. We'll just type it in our calculator, 3.14. Notice they used 1.5 instead of 3 because they had to find the radius first. Times 1.5 times 1.5 times 6. Divide by 3, and we get 14.13. That's inches cubed, but we need to round to the 10th, which is 1 decimal, so the 3 keeps that 1 there, 14.1 inches cubed. I wonder if we're done. Is that it? Oh, looks like we got a couple more. 2 more. Okay. Chloe was given a gift certificate, and it has a conical bird feeder, so it's like a cone. That's the volume, and here's the height. What is the area of the lid? Well, the area of the lid is the same thing as finding the big B. So that's the same thing as big B. I'm going to use volume is big B times H, divide by 3, because it does say cone. So the volume was 785.4. Big B is what I'm looking for. The H is 18, but we're going to divide by 3. So let's get big B by itself. You can multiply. You could simplify that first if you saw it, but let's just multiply both sides by 3 because that's what we did last time. So 785.4 times 3. That's 2356.2 is big B times 18 or 18B. Then you just divide both sides by 18 to find out what the area of the base is. Divide that by 18 and I get 130.9. This is area, so it's centimeters squared. That would be the lid. And she was given that bird feeder, and then she found out how much the bird seed was. It comes in packages of 100 cubic centimeters for $2.25 per package. How much does it cost her to fill it? Well, what was my area again? The volume, volume is 785.4. How many packages is she going to need? We'll divide by 100, and we will get 7.854 packages. But I can't buy a half of a package, so I'm going to have to buy 8 packages to fill it up. And each one costs $2.25. So you multiply that by $2.25. It's going to cost her $18 to feed those birds. Okay, so hopefully you're kind of seeing how to do this. Make sure you ask for help if you need it.